ragazzi, siamo pronti per il terzo giorno. Ieri è stata una giornata talmente incredibile che mi dovrei prendere un po' di tempo per registrare tutto, per non dimenticarvelo, ma non me lo dimenticherò mai. Comunque siamo stati nella Piramide del Sole, abbiamo fatto le misurazioni nel punto con la maggior concentrazione di ioni negativi sulla superficie della piramide e poi abbiamo fatto le misurazioni in cima alla piramide, dove c'è un enorme fascio di 4 metri di diametro di onde scalari che va verso l'alto di 28 kHz, esattamente la stessa frequenza che usava Nikola Tesla per la trasmissione di elettricità wireless. Poi abbiamo assistito anche alla conferenza che parla della geometria sacra in questa valle e parla appunto delle misurazioni che sono state fatte prima e dopo sulle aure delle persone con la tecnologia di Kostantin Korotkov, prima e dopo appunto dell'ingresso della piramide, dopo un giorno, dopo una settimana, e anche la concentrazione di ioni negativi in questi anni, che all'interno del tunnel appunto hanno addirittura toccato picchi di oltre 200.000 per centimetro cubo, quando in cima a una montagna sono 500 per centimetro cubo, quindi rendiamoci conto della specialità di questo posto. Oggi invece ci aspettano appunto i tunnel, dove io sono stata ieri durante una conferenza, ma perché avevo proprio bisogno di riprendermi, e poi ci aspetta il grande Tumulo di Vratnica. Benvenuti a Visoko. Stiamo andando nell'albergo dei ragazzi. Io ne ho preso un altro, ho preso questo splendido motel park, consigliatissimo. Bisogna stare solo attenti a chiudere la porta, perché ti entrano in stanza delle volte senza dirti niente mentre sei completamente ignudo. Per il resto bravissimi, anche perché io il primo giorno è stato incredibile, ho preso il bagaglio di un altro che era identico al mio. Ecco, qui fanno il cibo tipico bosniaco. Finalmente il burek. Vi dicevo che ho preso per sbaglio il bagaglio di un'altra persona che era spiccicato al mio, ma veramente identico, e quindi niente, il primo giorno ho dovuto ricomprare tutto e i ragazzi dell'hotel sono stati gentili, mi hanno portato a comprare tutto, addirittura hanno anticipato i soldi, e poi sono andati loro a ritirare l'altro bagaglio quando anche il signore si è accorto di non avere più le sue mutande dell'Harley Davidson, ma di avere le mie. E quindi questo è stata il benvenuto in Bosnia, tipico mio ovviamente. Troppo carino, veramente. Stiamo arrivando al Vema Hotel, super hotel dove è il resto della combriccola. Sì, Visoko non è bellissima, insomma, tutta nuova, ma questo posto è stato martoriato dalla guerra e diciamo che si è ripreso molto bene, secondo me, per gran merito di Sam e di quello che sta facendo per questo posto. Questo posto si chiama Frisco e fanno tutti i frappati e i succhi di frutta freschi. La mattina ci fermiamo qua. Siamo qui al Tumulo di Vratnica. Ecco la nostra gente. Samir from England. Hello, archaeologist. E oggi faremo qua delle misurazioni. Che bello.
Yeah, then you can avoid it.
La facesse cadere!
E non c'era in entrata. L'archeologo si è deciso di provare ad entrare da lì perché sapeva che quella quota c'era. Sono anche i supporti in legno che abbiamo messo per sostenere quelle.
No, l'hanno fatto crollare!
No, hanno ceduto.
E quindi adesso non si può più entrare.
Perché era un ingegnere, non un architetto.
No, era un archeologo. Non c'entravano neanche allora perché non ci sono riusciti a entrare.
Qui ci sono delle immagini di tumuli di tutto il mondo ai quali io aggiungerei le tombe a tumulo etrusche italiane. Can I ask you some questions for Italy? We have Dr. Marijanovic and
Igor
Tomic, and today you are taking measurements of scalar waves here
Yes.
and sound.
Oh, yes, electromagnetic and
Everything.
Everything.
Okay, have you done this before here on this site? Yes, but I don't understand that language very good.
That's
Okay,
oscilloscope.
oscilloscope. Okay.
She measuring electromagnetic fields. Measure stronger of electromagnetic fields and peaks of energy to frequencies. To 16,000 hertz, 10,000 hertz. And when you
Don't worry.
when you find
Yes.
the point, this is mobile. I'm going around and search for the point. When this is point, come with laptop.
Yes.
And very sensitive oscilloscope like this. And just analyze the sinusoids, electromagnetic field stronger.
Okay, so today you're gonna do that for everybody
Yes.
for the first time.
No. This is presentation. When measuring, when the scientific measuring, we just nobody
around because everybody affects the measurements.
Mobile phones.
Yes.
First of 500 meters from measuring point to have the zero.
The zero.
One near measured point, and that at this point it's measuring.
Okay, thank you. Now Sam arrived.
Okay.
What is tumulus? In archaeology, tumulus is the artificial conical hill. But it's not the pyramid, does not have four sides, does not have corners, it's rounded. The tumulus phenomenon is very old, at least from the early Neolithic times. So we're talking thousands and thousands of years. We started excavation here back in 2006. We were very busy here 2007 and 2008. But then, since it was not our property, we started experiencing problems with the private owners here. So basically, we've been neglecting the site for 15 years. And then finally, last fall, I decided to buy private properties here, 6 of them. And then we have become the owner of the half of the tumulus. The other half belongs to the government. Since we do have permission to work here long term, and this is not protected national monument, a cultural monument, it means that the whole tumulus really works. Now, on this billboard, we are explaining that. So we are showing different parcels, different properties, saying that Bosnian Pyramids Inc. is the owner of most of them here. And at that time, it was totally neglected. There was no road, no asphalt. This is what we do. We made a parking lot, we cleared everything, asphalted the road, and then cleaned the tumulus before it was completely covered in bushes. And so we removed all of that. The reason why most of the tumuli in the world are actually clean, there is only soil and there is the So the next shot wrote their georadar PR equipment, and we were checking the whole tumulus. Now, this right here, this is the top of the tumulus, this red area. And below the top, 14 meters, we have different thermal signature. Now, when you see, for example, this blue color, it means that this is one type of the material. Then we have white, then we have green, then we have yellow, then we have brown, and so on and so forth. But if within this field we have different colors, it means this is some type of the anomaly. So darker the color, the bigger possibility that there is a hollow space. So 14 meters, which is about 50 feet, below the top we have potential chamber.
Ecco, guardate, la pavimentazione del tumulo. Meraviglia. Incredibile. Stiamo camminando verso la cima di questo tumulo che dalle misurazioni è il più alto del mondo. E la cosa incredibile è che anche da quassù è stato misurato, guardate, è stato misurato un raggio di 28 kHz, come sulla piramide del Sole, la stessa frequenza utilizzata ancora da Tesla per la sua trasmissione di elettricità wireless. Ecco qua tutti questi bei blocchi che sono stati trovati scavando, e qua iniziano già le misurazioni.
Now, below this block, like there, you see here, it's a clay. The problem with the clay, different temperatures, winter and the summer, it starts breaking. So what happens? The erosion starts. So this material starting eroding, so eventually no support for this block, and it collapses. And then we really start the excavation. Why? Because it will bring the whole structure in danger. But the idea that we have 20-ton blocks is amazing. Now let's see the profile. Here. It reduces the size, the radius of that energy ring coming from under the ground, making the energy beam going to the very top. Let's see if we can find out where is that energy beam today. The ancients were building structures that they would not collapse. Just with enough room, and in the case of earthquake, the structure would lock itself. When the Spaniards came to Peru, they found a lot of pre-Inca structures which they would not understand. But what they would do, Spaniards are destroying them, building their palaces, churches, cathedrals, and so on. 1950, huge earthquake hit Peru. All Spanish structures collapsed. And then we were able to see that below there are perfectly preserved pre-Inca structures, because those builders are much smarter. They are using this type of the construction. Okay, we are.
Dottor Korotkov che sta già per farmi durazioni.
We are at the top of the Vratnica. It is exactly 32 meters above the road level. We have a commanding view of the valley around us. Beautiful view. So there was a special reason to build it here. It was built from the ground up, or to be more precise, they were digging below very, very deep, and then they placed this structure on the top. Until 7-8 months ago, this was a neglected place with bushes everywhere, so people could not even notice the regular geometry of the tumulus. This is not freestanding tumulus, it's about 270 degrees, and then it continues this way towards the next potential shape structure. Now, what we did here, we cleared the place, and instead of 10 people, this is how much it could accommodate until 6-7 months back. We made the place for at least 200 people. Once we cleared everything, we placed the benches, and we brought those 5 blocks from the base of the tumulus. They collapsed over there, so what we did, we actually brought them here, and then you can see here, it says installation. Installation meaning we did it. And the name of the installation is teleportation chamber. Why did we do that? Because since this tumulus is all about focusing the energy going up, that's why we were a little creative and gave it this name, teleportation chamber. If people can really teleport, if they were doing it in the past, we don't know. But I think once people spend some time here, they can feel light, and they can feel that somehow they would like to fly somewhere above. So those 4 blocks belong to the structure, just stand them up. Why up? Because when you place it like this, then the energy of the blocks, it's also directed above us. Back in 2007, we did geological core drilling here. Not here, but exactly where Kostantin, Professor Korotkov, is placing his instruments. There is another plate, and below the plate there is a hole, 120 millimeters hole. That's how wide was the hole that we were digging there. So we went to 54 to 57 meters. Not only that it was empty in a sense, there were no rocks or concrete, but it was filled with water. So the first 10 minutes, the water came up, and obviously it was under the pressure that it went about 15 meters above our heads. So it took about 10-15 minutes that the whole water was gone. So we know that there was a chamber, and we know that it was filled with the water, so there is a water source. But also by using alternative method, by experienced dowsers, we realize that this particular place is energetically also very good. There is a scale called the Bovis scale. For the dowsers, it shows the level of the energy. We humans on this scale are from 6,500 up, 7, 8, 10, 12,000. And at that particular place, it's 50,000 Bovis. When I learned that a few years back, then I could explain what happened to one of my supervisors 15 years back. We had a very big guy, and he was doing some work here. And after 10 minutes standing in the same place, he collapsed. And we could not explain that. We moved him, and then, after that everything was fine. But when we realized that if you are exposed to 50 Bovis for 10, 15, or prolonged time, it can affect you in a way that first you become dizzy, and then you do really collapse. The good thing, if you are getting it in quantities, it can become counterproductive. And that was the reason why we didn't want to place this circle right there, but here. Here, where I'm standing, we have 25,000 Bovis. Very pleasant. The whole top is between 20 and 25,000. Of course, you can go there, don't stand for too long. Now, yesterday I was explaining Leo when we were on the top of the Sun Pyramid. That particular energy beam and the circle, the radius, if you stand for too long, you can also feel dizziness. For example, I was standing there while inviting different engineers to do the measurements, and after a while, after 10 minutes, I felt dizzy, so I had to move. So these are the stuff that we don't have a good scientific instruments for. We cannot really, how can you measure some of the energy phenomena? And that's why experienced dowsers can give us a good idea. Okay, so I would invite our engineers and physicists to do the measurements here. So, Ogo, you can do it here. And where is Jasper? Jasper, you're going to bring it so you can do it here. And where is Evelina? Evelina? Where is Evelina? Evelina is somewhere.
What is he doing again?
I cannot. So you have to talk to him because it is a very specific topic that he's trying to research.
Okay.
And the equipment that he has created by himself.
Oh my God.
Right, so if you can look at that thing on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And he is some kind of wave.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going into very minuscule details about what type of frequency he uses.
Okay. And I just understood that this is to see the direction of the field. That's the only thing I could pick.
Yes.
Try and adjust. I'll do it one more time. That comes from the antenna. That is
Okay.
so whatever you see on the screen is starting from this wire here and goes up through the antenna. Now here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna adjust a little bit so we can see something. Now this is a very unsteady. Yeah. Okay, the reason why it jumps is because we have so many people standing around with so much electronics.
Yeah.
So that makes it jump. That's now if I zoom out, you can see the noise. There. Antenna itself. We have very, very, very little. How about the impedance there? Yeah, we have something there. But right now I have so much noise up here that the signal keeps jumping.
Okay, so let's get all away from here.
Let's see if we can do something.
It is.
I'm not sure we can. We have a lot of noise, so I'm trying to cancel out. And at the moment I'm not measuring any other direction than straight up. So all vertical. If we had more time, I can start to direction of the field. But right now I'm just establishing that I have a field here on Tumulus, and which we have.
So you can tell me right now that you are actually getting some special results? Or?
Well, yes and no, because I am actually at the moment, hang on. Now see, because it jumps, it's fairly hard to read, but I know my equipment here. Again, I'm measuring something that is about 3 times 28 kilohertz, and this reminds me of a triple so a triple DNA string really, but this takes quite a lot of time to cancel out, and at the moment there's so much noise up here. Now I will just zoom out for a second, then you can see what I'm talking about. Here we're coming closer to the noise. Down there. Here we got a clear signal by zooming out. So this time to analyze all this. But this is really the most stable signal I have at the moment. And then we can start to analyze the frequency and so on. But what is really noticeable, it works like an AC capacitor pattern. So this is something I need to study further, because I do not...
Is that the scalar way?
I cannot say that, no. I can only say that there is some kind of a signal within the signal, and this is what I need to analyze further to understand it. And I do not have the full understanding of it yet. But I do know that if I put down the antenna in horizontal, this signal will not collapse, but it will have a much smaller amplitude.
You have measured on other places too?
Yes, I have, and it's the same signal I get everywhere.
Everywhere here in Visoko Valley or everywhere else also?
Everywhere here in Visoko.
3 times 28.
Other places with similar results?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to travel around the world, climb the pyramids. So I can't confirm that. I have heard it from other colleagues that it is the same, but I have not confirmed it myself. So this is the only place where I can actually do this thing and come up on the top of the pyramids, measure the signals and so on. And this is a great value because I can have all the time in the world up here, sitting, analyzing the signals and see what goes on.
Electric signal because it's electron.
Well, what is electric and what is magnetic? Now, what is force?
Okay, go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. It's like in particle physics, they say we have 4 fundamental forces.
Right.
Electromagnetics, gravity, weak and strong nuclear force. Okay. I'm saying nature doesn't work with 4 different forces. I'm saying it's 4 different expressions of one force.
Okay, that's what all physicists say.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that kinetics within the atom, within the subatomic particle, there's a kinetics, an ongoing kinetic the whole time.
Okay, right.
But we do not know, like if you look to subquantum kinetics, we have a reaction pattern. Paul Laviolette came up with different models to explain force and the different variations of force. But we're still not sure of whether it's true or not, and could that model be changed?
What's the model?
The subquantum kinetic model?
Yeah.
I will show that in my presentation.
Okay.
It's quite complicated.
Okay.
But I can say already that one atom is a dipole. So every single subatomic particle is a dipole.
Yes.
If it's symmetric, then not.
It's
Yeah, nothing
diabolic.
is symmetric. Everything is dipole.
Okay.
Everything is
okay. So
diabolic.
slightly diabolic.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And
fine.
Sounds like
so to me,
diabolic.
this is not. We have an electromagnetic phenomenon.
Yes,
but
no, don't go there.
But in my mind, it's not all about electromagnetics. There's something more to it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the theory of the unified field. Yes.
But it's so hard to pinpoint. It's so hard to measure. So we're now really kind of playing. Okay, there must be something else, but we don't know the terms. We don't know the measurements. We don't know the units. So what the heck are we talking about?
Yeah.
And then we leave the physics. We have to leave at least conventional physics for a moment and say, okay, we're now floating a little bit further away, and that's fair. That's fair to say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when have you seen a Faro cell?
Have you seen it first?
I can assume what it is, but I'm not sure. Probably not.
I'm gonna show you.
Hang on, one second. I'll be back.
Thank you, though. He's
What I
great.
see is this.
Yes.
Okay.
I see when the magnetic lines are there, I see all these lines, this pattern here, under a ferrocell. I can change the shape of the
So
magnet.
suspended particles of iron,
It's
right?
a liquid.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
Okay.
it's a suspended particle of iron.
Okay.
Between two glass plates with
Yes.
water.
Right, okay.
So, but the funny thing is, the lines we see, that's where there's no magnetism. So it's the dark areas we have is all the holes here, and all the light areas is the lines here. So it really means there's no magnetism around in those lines. So now I placed the wire here lines to mimic that pattern.
Because they move until they find no force,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So why does it move in between
Un fisico
here
convenzionale
and
contro
not
un
along?
fisico alternativo.
When I did this first time, I actually suspected I would see the reversed picture,
Right.
but we don't.
Right.
We see
Right.
reversed picture of
Right.
what we think would
Right.
be normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
And every time I
anti-magnetic field, right?
yeah, it's anti-magnetic. So if I change the shape of the magnet, I only change the little tiny field around it. It will always go out to the same pattern and the same shape, no matter what.
Outside.
Until I make non-linear magnets.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I change the whole field.
Yes.
As long as the two poles are the same, I have one field, one shape of the
Right.
field. So a square magnet will come out to be a round field.
Right.
And I can have a triangle, I can have a
And
whatever.
when it's non-linear, how does it look like?
Like what we see here on the pyramids, where you have the great force coming from underneath and then one beam coming out.
Okay.
So-
So that's why on the sides you see some component of
Yes,
it.
yes, and that's why I can see the contraction of the field coming up here, and I can see the field contract around the magnet and then leave as a beam.
Right.
And that's the only type of magnet that does this.
Right. And this beam is electromagnetic, right? This
Yes.
is not scalar wave
No.
of some fancy nature, right?
No, this is what we assume
Right,
is electromagnetic.
And the frequency you said is 3 times 28.
28.
Kilohertz, yeah.
How-
So
what
we can measure 28 kilohertz, but I can also measure something 3 times that.
Right.
So
And you have 28 kilohertz component in it as well,
yes, and I have something that's 3 times that thing.
like harmonic, right?
Yeah. So in my mind, and I know there's camera on it, so please don't take my word as truth. We're just playing around.
Cameras, you know.
Yeah, we're just playing around here. But because in construction and different, I see the 100 and this pattern. That's a problem with instruction.
Yeah,
It is-
motors.
Yeah.
You know.
So if I take, if I
Three-phase
have a
motors right
vertical beam, if I have one vertical beam, I can have it a pipe, and I can bend it. So, but what gives me the biggest strength? 120 degrees pattern. So if I take
Of what? 120 degrees of what?
like
Between what?
let's say this is a vertical beam, and I have 3 plates
Right.
coming up like this. With that angle,
Right.
I can build the strongest pole with the minimum amount of material, minimal construction.
Right.
That is the 128.
128.
Right.
Yeah.
Orientation.
Yeah, and that is the same as a triple helix when you twist it. And when you twist it with the golden ratio, okay, let's play with the thought again, because when I take a pipe and I use sacred geometry in that pipe, for example, hexagon, and I push in the hexagon, the flower of life, the shape of flower of life. I push that in the pipe, and I.
What exactly you push in?
Okay, if we draw the, if I have a round pipe,
yes,
and I take the flower of life, put on top of that, you'll see sort of the
like
dents.
from the outside.
Yeah, from the outside, and I push in, so I have these dents in the pipe. They're hexagonal and according to the flower of life. And hang on, if I then twist the pipe like this, according to the golden ratio, I will lower the resistance. The resistance
Yes.
in the pipe. So if I have a round, flat pipe, a round, square, straight pipe,
and more
I push
conductivity
water through
then, yes.
it will have a resistance. But when I put in the flower of life in the surface and I twist it according to the golden ratio, I will lower that resistance. That is Victor Schauberger.
Victor Schauberger, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That was his philosophy of how would water like to move.
Yes.
This we can prove that way.
Yeah.
And
when
also
I combine
Pollack proved that, yes.
With when I combine this with sacred geometry and the 120 degrees pattern, I get a triple helix, and I'm not sure, I'm just playing around, but I do think this is
triple helix of whatever pattern you're choosing, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the electromagnetic field coming out here, I've heard before people are seeing as a DNA helix coming up, but I believe it's not a double helix, it's a triple helix. But I'm not sure. This is just what I'm playing around with.
Do you think you can sort it out from the data you collected?
Maybe.
But does it have, these angles have to do with the triskel?
With the
Triskel. The three, yes, it's the same angles, isn't it?
We see some very specific angles in nature all the time.
Yes.
Like the Fibonacci spiral. Why do we see that? Well, it works on an atomic level as well.
Yes.
And from the fractal pattern, it just repeats itself. So it starts actually on the subatomic particle level, which looks like that. And if we follow that pattern all the way through, we end up by getting a galaxy. And everything in between. A sunflower and so on and so on. But this is how force comes out. How this is the natural motion of energy.
And getting back to say from atom level, electricity and magnetism, because this is electric field that you're measuring, but it's the magnet that's creating it.
Yes.